Hello and welcome to the introductory video for Panchabhuta Taas. My name is Saurabh Chatterjee and among other things I am a card games enthusiast. I like all kinds of card games and I am the designer of this game. Panchabhuta Taas is an open source cards game based on Hindu mythology, that is Itihasa and Purana, one of the very few of its kind. The theme of this game is Panchabhutas, the five elements from ancient tradition. You have Agni, Prithvi, Vayu, Jal and Akasha. The symbol of Panchabhuta Tas is the rainbow fish. The scales of the rainbow fish are red, blue, green and yellow. The green scales are made of grass representing earth element or Prithvi. The blue scales represent water or Jal. The yellow scales are lightning representing air, Vayu, and the red scales are made of fire representing Agni. The fish is shown in a background of space or Akasha. The game derives its inspiration from two sources, Ganjifa cards and Magic the Gathering. When we think about card games, mostly we think about these European playing cards. These are the cards that most people are familiar with. We have four suits, spades, clubs, hearts, diamonds. So now if we think about it, why is it that India can send a space vehicle to Mars but it doesn't have a good quality cards game? So this is an attempt to discuss and deal with the problem. Now these are Ganjifa cards. They are playing cards from ancient India. There are still some hand-painted Ganjifas and Ganjifa artists, but the game is not well known. The themes of Ganjifas are derived from Hindu literature such as Dashavatara, that is the 10 avatars of Vishnu, the Dasha Mahavidya, that is 10 forms of Devi or the goddess, Ashtadikpala, Navagraha, Radhakrishna, Shiva Parvati and so on. Each suit has 1 to 10 as well as 2 face cards, the Raja and the Mantri, for a total of 12 cards. I want to make this point here that Western playing cards are Western and not universal. Although they may have gained a universal appeal, but they are still Western and rooted in its philosophy. Now these cards, these Ganjifas, they can also be used for normal card games, and that is one thing. But there is also a spiritual aspect and a devotional aspect to it. And the idea that card games can be used as a spiritual activity, I think it is a very unique thing not to be found in the Western world. For example, these cards are not used for gambling, as that is an activity not pleasing to the gods. Ganjifas, I think, have a lot of potential. For one thing, you are not limited to 52 cards. The Dashavatara set alone has 120 and you can have thousands of them. So if you are wondering where I got these cards from, I have downloaded them from Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts website. I have printed them out and cut it by hand. They are not commercially available just yet. The art form of Ganjifa varies. The ones that I am showing you, they are made by artists in Orissa and Bengal. So I have tried to model my own artwork after these, as you can see in the Panchabhuta Taas cards. Now the other inspiration is from a game called Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering is a trading cards game that was first published in 1993. It is based on Western fantasy literature and involves creatures such as elves, goblins, zombies and so on. It is very popular in the West but not much in India. There have been many adaptations of Magic the Gathering such as Hex, Shards of Fate, Hearthstone Arena and Yu-Gi-Oh! I really like the gameplay of Magic the Gathering. Hit points, combat and turn-based combat and so on, which is why the Panchabhuta Taas borrows its gameplay style from Magic the Gathering. And I want to talk a little bit more about the theme of Magic the Gathering. which is Western fantasy. It has elves, dwarves, wizards, goblins, dragons, and so on. You see it in books and movies like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, etc., and also in video games such as Warcraft, Diablo, Skyrim, Prince of Persia, and so on. And magic fits very well into this genre. Like Western playing cards, Western fantasy genre is Western, it's not universal. Now this game, it's also fantasy, but it's Indian fantasy. So how is Indian fantasy different from Western fantasy genre? Mainly, Western fantasy doesn't have deep roots. So for example, we can see here a noxious dragon. Now does that really have any deep roots? I don't think so. On the other hand, if we consider a Vetala, well, it is a ghost, but there is also tied up in stories, like there are stories about Vetalas and they may have morals built into them. So another thing is that Western fantasy, science fiction, superhero, etc., they work as franchises. You have a Star Trek franchise, a Star Wars franchise, Lord of the Rings franchise, Warcraft franchise, Superman franchise, and so on. Each franchise is generally in its own separate box and it has millions of fans, and even sometimes these fans are in conflict with each other. But what we have here is something that is not belonging to a single author or to a company. It is a civilization franchise. It belongs to a civilization. And we need to understand it from a greater perspective of Indian arts and culture. All classical arts of India provide yoga, that is mystic union with God, and bhoga, or materialistic sense pleasure. So it is yoga plus bhoga. This concept is there in classical music, in dance, theatre, visual arts, etc. Western fantasy model is simply bhoga. Pop culture is also like that. Bhangra dance doesn't have any concept of yoga, for instance, but Bharatnatyam does, and that's the difference. Now, if you want to look at any other non-Western fantasy genre, I suggest a game called Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing that showcases Eastern European fantasy, which is somewhat different from Western fantasy. And we have a lot of Chinese stuff coming out now, and Japan's anime genre like Pokemon is quite well established. So I think we need another genre of fantasy in terms of card games, video games, etc. based on Indian philosophy. So I think this is a start, and we really need to rethink who are we and what is our place in the world. If we say that we are all same, everything is same, and we don't need things like this, then I think that's not going to work out. And I would suggest them to read this book. It's called Being Different by Rajiv Malhotra. This book is a work of genius. It elaborates on the Indian civilizational literacy and how it differs from the West. So that is where, in my opinion, we need a renaissance in India. And this is just a small beginning in this direction. So while the gameplay of Panchabhuta Taas resembles Magic the Gathering, the theme is different, the philosophy is different, and Panchabhuta Taas is going to be open source. It is licensed under Creative Commons license, attributable and share alike. Anybody can commercialize it if they want. You can also download it and print it yourself. Panchabhuta Taas also has a localization option. The game is available in Hindi as well as in English. This is very rare for most video games and card games. The translation is done by me, and I have used some new terminologies such as attack is Akraman, defense is Raksha, and so on. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please download and play this game.